On the college hardwood, a couple of bubble teams in action tonight, including North Carolina. The Tar Heels are 7.5-point favorites against Syracuse and Chapel Hill. In a game that can be seen on CBS Sports Network, San Diego State is looking for a resume builder when they visit Wyoming. The Aztecs, fourth in the Mountain West, have won 6 of their last 7 games. And some other bubble games to keep an eye on as we inch towards conference tournaments. Here we go, Syracuse, North Carolina later today at 7 Eastern. As you mentioned, San Diego State on CBS Sports Network against Wyoming at 9 Eastern. So let's bring in CBS Sports' Tim Doyle, who's got his mallet and hammer out. Time to pick some games. UNC at Cuse. Put that thing away before we have to take you off camera. Do they ride the hot hand of Armando Bacot? Double figures in 3 straight, Tim, including 28 points in his last game.
You talked about bubble teams. Carolina needs this win right now, but the strength of North Carolina lies on the inside. Whether it is Bacot dominating the backboards or scoring down low, or Manick's able to spread the floor, shooting the 3, the Oklahoma transfer. But it's so hard to prepare for, Mike, as you check out North Carolina's resume. It's so hard to prepare for Syracuse's zone. North Carolina played Saturday, so they have 1 day of prep to go up against the 2-3 zone. Now, it's not the 2-3 zone I saw at St. John's where Keem Warwick and Carmelo Anthony were out on the wings. That was a problem. Craig fourth there in the middle. But you're looking at Buddy Boeheim, he averages 19 points a game. Syracuse is having a terrible year. There's no other way to say it. They're 15-14. They lost to Georgetown. That's all you have to know. Georgetown hasn't won a game in the Big East. But 7.5 points seems like a lot of points on such a quick turnaround. North Carolina, like I said, the strength is on the inside. It's not shooting the jump shot. So they're going to have to make 9, 10 threes against Syracuse. Then it's going to be imperative for Syracuse to go out there and win the rebounding battle, or at least compete on the backboards. Too many points. And Mike, did you watch college basketball this weekend? It was all nutty. It was all goofy. A lot of underdogs winning. The fact that I'm getting 7.5 points, I'll take all those, buddy.
You got to wonder if all those upsets we got out of our system now as we inch towards tournament play. And as Jerry Palm just mentioned, really, it's not so much for UNC to beat Syracuse. It's just don't lose to them, really. All right, the other bubble team we're watching today, San Diego State. They got to have this one against Wyoming, but you're not buying them.
Raise your hand if you've ever been to Laramie, Wyoming in the winter. I have, and it's awful. Put it this way, nobody should go to Laramie, Wyoming in the winter, including San Diego State. Could you imagine? You're in La Jolla, you're laughing, you're checking out like whales and stuff, whatever's on the beach, seagulls. Now you go to Laramie. I mean, I feel like when I'm in Laramie, Wyoming, Mike, the only song that's playing is REM, Everybody Hurts. Like, it's just like depressing for like 24 hours a day. What's not depressing is Graham Akey. Anybody that calls him Ike doesn't know anything about basketball. He's giving you 20 and 10 a game. Wyoming's having an outstanding year. They're 23-5. They've come out of nowhere, and their home court is very difficult to play on. I've played there as a player. I'm telling you, first 2 or 3 times up the court, because of that elevation, it's really hard to adjust to. I like Wyoming money line on this spot. I think San Diego State, you still recognize the name. Brian Dutcher's squad is going to guard. They're giving up less than 57 points a game. Defending is their calling card. But this Wyoming team is for real. They're a team that I have circled in the dance that could win not one game, but multiple games. They knocked off a really good Colorado State team and David Roddy already at home. I think the Mountain West has some very dangerous team. And yes, Laramie, Wyoming, I'm sure is gorgeous in the spring. Probably in the summertime. The trees, the flowers. You go there in January and February. Stay away from all sharp objects.
I like that you kind of undercut them at the top and then built them back up. I think they're going to maybe buy you a permanent residence there in Laramie, Wyoming. All right, let's move on to hopefully some warmer weather. Baylor beating number 5 Kansas by 10 on Saturday. They've got Texas later today. They've covered in 4 of their last 5 games against the Longhorns, so history certainly on their side, Tim. But just a 1-point favorite against a 20th ranked team in the country today.
No, both these teams are really good. Remember, Baylor was number 1 for multiple weeks there. And I love the way that they bounced back against Kansas because they got smacked around the first matchup. And what did they go out and do? Well, they repaid Kansas in that manner. They've won 3 straight games. I'm going to bet Baylor in this spot. I think that this is a game that they're going in the right direction. Matthew Meyer and his dirty little mullet is a double-double machine. He's wildly athletic. And they have another guy. Did you watch Jeremy Sokan? from England. 17 points against Kansas, only a freshman off the bench. It just seems like Scott Drew reloads. They're not very deep. They only played 7 guys against Kansas. But I love the fact that Baylor was not at its best. Didn't play perfect against Kansas. 3 of 14 from 3. But they dominated this first meeting. It was all Baylor all the time. They knocked off the Longhorns by 17. And I have to lay a short number on the road. Give me the Bears.
All right, Jerry Palm has number 12 Texas Tech as a 3 seed. They're perfect at home this season. They're heavy favorites too. 12.5-point favorites. Are they too heavy of a favorite at that number?
I love Jerry Palm. I don't love the hair. I don't know what's going on there. I've known him for a long time. I think he just needs a little more product up there, maybe to push it up a little further. But I always just see him this time of year, like he's like, oh, March is here. Like, I don't know why our bracketologist needs like a graduated cylinder, but I just see him like pouring things into remember like in science, he's like, oh,
he's a mad scientist.
Here, a little Kansas here. Yes, absolutely. He looks like one. He should be in a lab coat. We need to get him like a bracketologist lab coat. I would not lay points in this game, and here's why. They played once this year.
Mm-hmm.
Who won? It was all Kansas State. They held Texas Tech to 23 second half points, only 51 total. So I know that Kansas State has lost 3 straight games, but if you dive a little bit deeper, Mike, they lost by 1 to Iowa State, who's having a really good year. All right, you lose at Kansas. They didn't get embarrassed in that game, but everybody loses at Kansas. And then they lose in overtime to Oklahoma State. Kansas State, if the tournament starts today, they're not getting in. And probably at the end of the day, they're not going to be a tournament team. They've had a lot of off-the-court issues. It's just been, kind of a flurry of storm of problems this year for that squad. But Nigel Pack is a scoring machine. He had 32 points. He's been in double figures all but 1 game this year. And it just seems like a lot of points. I agree. I think Texas Tech defends. I think they're physical. I think they're wildly athletic. Their coach has an amazing hairdo. It's almost like he should host a game show. I think it's real, but since we're talking about hair, Mike, yours looks fantastic today. And at this point, way too many points in this spot. I'll take the dog.
What do you mean today? Is it not every day?
Today, especially better.
Today, all right. You know what? Yours is looking pretty tight up top, too. All right, UCLA and Washington, another big spread. The Bruins favored by 10.5. Is that too much for the number 17 in the country?
Here's what I do this time of year when I look at a game like this. I say I hate this game 3 times. Like when Austin Powers used to ask Mustafa, a question. If he asked him 3 times, he go, damn it, 3 times. So I hate this game, I hate this game, I hate this game. I'm going to take Washington plus 10.5. What do I have to go on? Not much, besides they played awful in the first game. Couldn't make it 3. They only made 3. They turned the ball over 14 times against UCLA. UCLA did whatever they want, whenever they wanted. They won by 26 points at home, but it's a conference game. These are the dog days of the season, especially for a UCLA squad that knows it's going to get in the tournament, that I believe has the ability to flip the switch. A lot of people I hear across the country are saying, well, did UCLA just kind of put it all together at the right time last year? Easily could have lost the play-in game to Michigan State, and then they kind of got hot, and who knows, might have won a national championship if a couple balls bounced their way. So I believe they are for real. I don't believe what happened last year in March was kind of a figment of our imagination. I do think that is true, but this just seems like too many points. Plus, think about Washington. You've had a disappointing year. This is the Beatles. This is how you kind of keep your season alive, keep your fan base alive. Everybody's going to show up for UCLA, and the fact that I'm getting all these points, I'm banking on UCLA does not shoot as well as they did in the first matchup, where they almost shot 50% from 3. So I'll take the points in the dog.
All right, I want to keep the good hair talking because Chris Hassel's sitting next to me. Whoa! And his Iowa Hawkeyes taking on Northwestern. Should we put the earmuffs on him for this pick? Look at that. Look at that. And you can do the thing with the eyebrow. I can't do that one eyebrow thing. That just adds 10 more points. There it is. Got the Dwayne Johnson sitting next to me here. Do his Hawkeyes take it to Northwestern tonight, even though they're 10.5 favorites? 10.5 point.
I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win this game. Mm-hmm. But I have a long storied history with the state of Iowa. First of all, I love it. It's the best state in the United States because all they care about is beer and sports. That's why they have the caucuses there. You trust people first in Iowa to kind of set the tone on who's going to be the president of the United States. And I love Fran McCaffrey, the red face and all, but Northwestern might be the best, worst team in the country. They have lost so many games this year. down the stretch. Talent-wise, I think they're as good as almost any team in the Big Ten for 36 minutes, 38 minutes. And I think they put it all together to cover this spread. My best, most favorite college moment, though, did come against Iowa. And it was a very, very special moment where I threw this pass down 2 in the corner, Mike.
Let's
Mike
go.
Jenkins.
Oh, my God.
Rolls it in. We get the win against number 24 Iowa. I go to the Keg of Evanston that night, buy as many $2 40-ounce drafts as I could. That you're watching right now was my greatest moment at North. We didn't win a lot of games at Northwestern. We covered a lot. Okay, we didn't win a lot. But that was a moment there. I remember Bill Carmody drew up the play. He goes, all right, the guy's going to bite, and the guy in the corner should be open. And I said, what if he's not open? He just said, good luck.
Hey, he was open. I remember that as well. I was coming home from calling a St. Ambrose Fighting Bees basketball game and listened to it on the radio. Tim, it's Jordan Bohannon's 4th senior night tonight.
It's not true, is it? I mean, that can't. And by the way, I was 24 my senior year at Northwestern, and I remember I took a freshman cheerleader out on a date. We went to Chipotle.
Is that legal?
And I remember afterwards, I drove her back to the dorm, and I went, I think I'm a little bit too old for that going forward.
Jesus, Tim.
Wow.
By the way, I mean, Iowa was ranked 24th against unranked Northwestern in that game that he won.
Yep.
Same thing tonight.
I imagine if something similar happens, we'll probably pull that up tomorrow on this show. Tim, as always, thank you. I mean, a lot went on here today.
Thanks a lot.
Your best bet for the day, Tim, again, was Wyoming in that game against San Diego State. A lot to digest there in that segment. Thanks as always to Tim for bringing his hoops knowledge to us here on HQ.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.